Hare Krishna. Today I'll be talking about my previous yesteryears, when I was inquisitive about the absolute truth. I didn't want to use the word absolute, but about the truth. What is the ultimate truth? Why are we working so hard, slogging all day long in the office? And even before that, we had to study hard for clearing our exams, and we often stayed awake all night and studied whole day and did a lot of sacrifices, and all this to gain something. There was a purpose and there was a goal, but what was the higher purpose behind this? There was always this dissatisfaction, and I was very much always into that thought, but I didn't get much success. So I would wonder, what is the ultimate truth? What is our goal of life? And where will this lead to? Because I studied hard in the college days. Then after got a nice big fat salary job in a MNC, the corporate, my corporate life, where I used to work in the IT industries. And during those days, it was very hectic. And still in between, there I used to peep into some Bhagavad Gita and other books, religious books, and I used to carry them in the office. My boss often caught me when I would get printouts of those and I would be making notes in my free time in the office, and then take a printout and then show to my colleagues. My boss once caught me red-handed. He said, "What is this?" But he admired me. He said, "What printouts are you getting in the office?" I said, "This is about Bhagavad Gita." And he said, "Oh, really? You're also into that? You're inclined into reading all those religious books? That's good." And he admired me. And then he he said that once we are done with it, and don't tell anyone what you were doing, kind of something. And we had a joke. So, and I also had a book in those days, in my beginning days of the career. I used to carry one book about chanting the divine names. I did that, but not so with so much success. And since I was into career, I also had my material ambitions as to, you know, securing more good position, and then going towards a superior position, becoming a superior in the company, and getting some more bonuses, this performance benefits, and all that. So I worked hard for that also. I used to study on weekends also, and all this was going on while in the background about the higher purpose. That inquiry was on. But I was praying to I was a devotee of Krishna since my birth. But in between, when working towards our day-to-day activities, I would also ask the Lord to help me with my material, achievements, like getting, in the exam school days, I should stand first, or I should secure good numbers. And then when I grew up in the career days, that I may get promotion and all such stuff parallelly going on. And then I also was doing the bhakti part of it, like chanting the holy names, divine names. And I wanted to know what is the supreme authority, like who is the supreme personality of Godhead, and how is Krishna with all the souls, what are his leelas all about. So we are only supposed to be reading those leelas, but for how long? And then later on, as I carried on, I got to understand in my first visit to Vrindavan. I got some books from there, and then some online stuff I began reading. And in the course of time, I understood that the ultimate goal of life is surrendering to Lord Krishna. And so it was a kind of individual efforts, and I set in. And I would tell my friends about it, what am I into. But in the meanwhile, I didn't know about so many impediments in the spiritual life are there. I was reading Rupa Goswami, this Goswami books, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, but I didn't know the science behind it. I didn't know that what would ensure success in this pursuit. And then I would meditate. I would do some chanting. I would meditate, sing some, Goswami bhajans, and at home. I was doing all this at home. So sing some Goswami bhajans, and then I would try to understand how to control the mind. Mind control is the most important, and I was successful to some extent. And I was very happy when after the chanting of the holy name about Radha Krishna, and it was very nice, nice feelings I used to get in those days. But then after some time again, like there was a gap, and I kind of got in, lost in touch with my old friends, and in the meanwhile, there was a shift in, like we were shifting between overseas and India and home. And so then I kind of got lost, and I was totally at loss to understand now who to associate with and all. So I went to a temple nearby my house and got started associating with a team of devotees there, and reading some books and then chanting and doing some yagya, home, havan, and all such things. But Krishna was the center of all this worship. But I didn't know what is Krishna Bhakti in real sense. And this all was going on until one day I was frustrated with all what I was doing. I was thinking it's very mechanical, it's not fruit yielding. So I started reading another book which I got from my friend, and in that I was convinced little bit about Srimad Bhagavatam message to the souls. I had heard many Bhagavatam kathas, the Bhagavatam Sapta, but right from my childhood, but I was never happy with all those stories. This was a fun time and some merrymaking and some enjoyment for us kids. We would like to go there and do some little work for the worship, like gathering flowers, making garlands, then making the diya, the batis, and all such things, and then helping uh, with the messages from the elder ones from here to there, running around the pandal, cleaning and sweeping all the pathways, little things. So we as a kids, and it was a bunch of kids, so we enjoyed doing that. And then when it was the prasad, the aarti time and the prasad time, we just ran and only forgetting that little prasad, on the hand that the pujari would offer, the panditji, the katha would offer, we would run and get that prasad, snatch almost, and enjoy to our heart's content. And then there was the prasadam after that, which followed all the devotees together. So such kind of life. And that in the Bhagavad Gita, then whatever we heard as a child, we just heard it. The children are very innocent and very naive, so they just hear and they like it, and it just gets into the mind. But over a period of time, then it got lost, and we got busy with our day-to-day life. And that Kathavachak also, he after like 10, 15 years, he passed away due to old age. So then we were totally out of it. And yeah, I was coming back to this. Then this was all in the childhood. But then, as I told, I got a book from my friend, and Bhagavatam book I read. I was convinced to some extent, but again some doubts crept in, and so I decided that I should find out some better books. And then I got the books from our Srila Prabhupada's books, and I began reading those, and they kind of convinced me. Very much in the first few weeks, and then I thought I will go with this as it is. Keep on reading this, and I felt very nice reading this book. So I thought I'll read this book, continue reading it, and until I find some strong, some strong direction, and I will not go out and search anyone. That was my thought. And so I kept reading all those books, and also started chanting after reading from the book that all the all the devotees of ISKCON are supposed to be chanting rounds, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, some fixed rounds. So all this was going on, and I started chanting all this, and so, yeah, so that's much about it, and I'm still chanting. And but mind control, I came to know it's the toughest thing that is there, and you have to work towards it very, very carefully. And the goal should not be mind control, but serving the Lord. And often we think that mind control is everything, and so we get kind of sidelined from it. But chanting, you shouldn't chant to control the mind, but you should control the mind and then chant so that the chanting will be successful. And how will you control the mind? The Srila Swami has given some guidelines, and we have books from the Vaishnava Acharyas. So these books help you in understanding how your mind can be controlled. First of all, like speaking less and eating less, eating only how much you need, the sufficient portion of it, not overeating, eating many times, eating when not wanted, eating just to for the sake of taste, but satisfying the taste, but eating palatable foods when not required. So all such things, and then there are a whole lot of books which speak about mind control, and they are really effective. But in the kind of in between, you kind of get lost, but if you are sincere, you get helped. That is what I got to know, and I'm trying since then. So when the question comes, how to control the senses and keep them, you know, regulated, like you don't fall into indiscipline and do something hayward, is what is required, and you need to be just going walking on the path. Don't stop ever, and walk always. You will get help in the course of time. This is my experience which I wanted to share. And so this was a small clip about sense control and how to stop falling due to the loss of sense control. Hare Krishna.